All right, so hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews, and we're back again with more of The Expanse. We are going to try to plow through Season 2 and get into Season 3 while still being able to give a good review. Now, I'm sorry for everybody that I did 3, 4, and 5 all at once. That was a bit of a mistake. But we'll be doing episode by episodes from here on out. So this is Season 2, Episode 6. It's called Paradigm Shift, and it's the beginning of a new chapter in this show. Thank you for the commenter who told me that basically the end of last episode was kind of like the first book or something like that. So, full spoilers if you haven't seen the episode. There is so goddamn much to talk about. I picked Christian here as my wallpaper because I feel like she has the most shining moment of this episode that we'll get to. But in this, we have the beginning and throughout this episode, we have Solomon Epstein, who created the Epstein Drive. And I guess what I read was that this was part of a short story. And that in this, what we're seeing is, I think his name is Sam Huntington. He's been in a whole bunch of stuff. He's a pretty good actor. I remember him from that show with, oh gosh, where he played like a werewolf. What the hell was that show called? Yeah, it's real memorable because I can't remember what it's called. But he's a good actor. And throughout, it's like him talking about his life and life in general in the universe and you know what he did changed everything. And you know what I was reading about some of this is that it'd be interesting to see like how this kind of made things different and how what his drive did has kind of been used by everybody for different purposes, not all good. And I think that correlates with what people want to do with this proto-molecule as well. And it kind of just has this nice through line through it all. I don't know if we're going to be coming back to it. I don't know if that's the last we saw of him. Like, because I know this is 137 years ago, but did he die at the end of that? Like, are we supposed to assume that he died and that somebody found his ship or something? Or are they going to come back to this at some point and continue to show a little bit of his story? I would like to see more of that. I hope that's not their last. I hope he didn't just go die out there. I mean, it would be pretty realistic. I mean, the accidental finding out of this drive, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people are sacrificed, for great forward progresses in technology and things like that. So anyway, now with, back on Earth, we have the council, the UN council, all talking about what the impact of Eros is. Christian, I love Christian just, basically, like, yeah, you're just saying a bunch of science words at us. And this doctor comes in who's going to, I think, play a pretty big part. Itrip? I don't know how to say his name. He's a white guy with an Asian sounding name. That's one thing I don't know if I've ever talked about, but like everybody's names are really like they don't ever seem to practically fit the people, but whatever. Next we have Holden kind of like sending a message to his mother, which was pretty cool. And talking about how, this time he's not running away from the fight and he's got a girl and he wants to introduce his mom to. And Holden and Nagata having this kind of heart-to-heart, about Miller and about what, the things that they've been doing. Did Miller know that he was going to die? Well, we know. I don't think Miller wanted to die. I think that once he realized that there was probably no getting out of it, that he accepted his fate. But, and the whole thing with what they have to do with the sample of the protomolecule. Now, even when she puts her head on his chest, I feel like that was that was very telling right from the get-go. And we also have this kind of funny scene that I don't know why he's doing it, but fine. Because I've talked about how I didn't really want like love triangles in this show, and I still would have rather preferred that Holden and Nagata just have like this respect relationship, because I feel like I've said, that the girl that died on the Canterbury that he was involved with, I mean, the timeline feels like it hasn't been that long still since that blown up. And I do realize that stress and other things can bring people together, but I just always felt it was too soon, that he would just jump in the sack with somebody else. Unless it's in the books, maybe it is. But I still feel like when she said, when the girl in the Canterbury said that there's something she needed to tell him, I still feel like that's going to be important someday. And that this might, I mean, they clearly, it's not like he's got a secret kid or something out there, but I feel like that's still going to be important. But anyway, in this scene, he tells, Amos and Alex that they're having a relationship. And it's a funny scene because they've they've had this secret bet going on when they knew it was going on. They just didn't know when. And I love that, Alex loses and that he's supposed to get punched, like a birthday punch, but instead gets a wet willy, which for him is a lot worse. And then we have where Alex tells Holden about the nukes, and that, we're missing like 30 of them. And we cut to this like net that's catching them all, and who's running that net. And let's see, because there's so much going on in this. So Holden and crew get back to to Tycho Station, where they're greeted with a hero's welcome. And it's just whatever, it's just a nice celebratory thing. And we get Alex, trying to impress ladies with his, flight stories. And then this guy like tries to start a fight with him. And then Amos comes and pretty much beats that guy to death practically, which is just great. I love Amos, man. I'm trying to think of who's my favorite character, and I don't know. Like, I think about it, and it's like, well, I want to say Amos, then I want to say Christian, then I want to say, Fred Johnson, then I would have said Miller. You would have said Miller if he was still around, god damn it. But, he's pissed off now. Come on. Are you really going to let that ruin getting laid? Seriously? It felt like a very, and if anybody gets this reference, fine. I hope somebody out there gets this reference, but the fight that Amos had, like stepping in to help Alex, felt very much like a Xander Buffy moment, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. The kind of reaction that Alex gives him. Also, we have the kid that calls himself Invincible, the one that Miller, took his place with the bomb and told him to go get laid. He's, spreading the word, that Miller was this hero, and what he said was like, you gotta live, and that's whatever, propaganda. It's harmless propaganda. Not really propaganda, just he's trying to spread the word that Miller was more of a hero. You can't really just say the last words he said was go get laid, something that, somebody says to, whatever. We have Christian having this dinner with this doctor guy who, it's pretty much, this would have come to, somebody would have figured it out. That if what this thing was, isn't what we think it is, all the different options, we start checking them off, saying that, well, what if it's not this, if it's not these things, then what else do we got? The simplest solution, Occam's razor type of thing, that the simplest answer is usually the one that's right, and it would be an alien life form. And this guy wants to be the first one, on the team that goes to Venus. He kind of reminds me of somebody that would be like Elon Musk a little bit. I don't know why, but he wants to be like the first one down there with the team to go see if anything survived. Which, whatever. We'll see how that works out. All right, trying to keep everything straight in my head. So they talk to Fred Johnson. And Fred Johnson says, well, yeah, I'm the one who has the nukes. And I'm not going to do anything with them. I'm just going to kind of use them as I need to, like as far as bargaining chips, deterrence, things like that. Which doesn't sit well with Holden. But of course it doesn't sit well with Holden. It shouldn't sit well with Holden. And Johnson's being very... Okay, so he's kind of making a turn already. He's already kind of like... Now that the Arrow situation has been diffused, now he's already moving on to the next thing. And he wants to know what they were doing out there for 5 hours when they stopped, and Holden tells him about the, Semi getting killed, and they wanted to do a burial, and they had this whole thing going on. He's not telling him about the proto-molecule that they stashed out there that Holden wants to blow up now. And that conversation shows just how separated they really are. I mean, they have been together, but as soon as Arrow Station is done and now that they have to face the next thing, everybody's on different opposing sides, and what Fred Johnson tells Holden, that's, you have great dreams, kid, that the whole universe should be singing Kumbaya, my lord, and shit like that. But you got to pick a side eventually. And you can see that everybody's kind of got their own sides and their own situations and a way of looking at this thing. Alex says, give it to Mars, and I'm, like Amos is like, what did Amos say? I forget. Well, they all have their own opinions, and Holden is the one that is more like on my level, I guess, that nobody should have this. And if nobody else is, because somebody's just going to end up using it for their own means to get one over on Mars or Earth, or Mars wants it over on Earth, or somebody in the belt or the OPA or whoever is going to get a hold of this thing and do something terrible with it. And it, in this situation, they're kind of like, they're kind of like, Holden's kind of like Captain America to me. Just bear with me, okay? Sorry. It's just, he's making that call, the call that nobody wants to make, the call that, when nobody should have this power. You got to get rid of it. You got to remove it from the board. You got to do that thing that nobody else is willing to do. When everybody else is only looking out for their own interests, sometimes you just got to do that. But as we can see, when Holden and Nagata supposedly are going to shoot that fucker into the sun, she runs a simulation instead of actually doing it. So she's made her choice. She's picking her side a little bit here. And, then she goes off and helps, with the reverse engineering of the nuclear weapons. And then we get this just fantastic scene with her. Now, when she comes to the door of Ehrenreich and is just like, hi, you got time to talk? Like, run, Ehrenreich, you better run, because that is not a smile that you know. And even when she gets in there and she's sitting down and she's talking about, trying to get Julie Mao's dad, and have him come in from the cold. I love that line. It's such like the spy coming from the cold or whatever. Trying to be nice about it, like, hey, we can still work with this. We can still do it. And she gives him that smile. And I was just like, oh, damn, no. Like, don't trust that smile. I mean, what's going to come after that smile is not going to be great. I could just tell that where this was going. And I mean, then she just lets the hammer down, man. She just brings the thunder. Yeah, and she's just like, I will rain hellfire on down on them. I will rain just at that whole, I'm going to ruin their lives, man. And I can do it because I'm the hero that saved the world. I mean, damn, girl, go get yours. Because, she's not just telling this to tell Mao. She's telling this to Ehrenreich. Okay, she's going a long way to do it, but she is telling him too what's going to happen to him without having to say it. She's so damn good. I love this scene so much. And that look on Ehrenreich's face like he just saw a ghost is just fantastic. And And yeah, you're like, by the time they get me out of here, it'll be too late. It's just fantastic. Um, and then how else do we? Then we get, yeah. So we get to the Mars group that's on. What is that? Is that Jupiter that they're by? Or is that Venus? I don't know. It looked like Jupiter. Um, where they're down there not happy to be like running the line, kind of like the Berlin Wall kind of thing, where they're just out there to patrol the border, make sure both sides are just kind of doing their little thing, not don't get too close or whatever. And you see that drone. And I was like, as soon as I saw that drone, and they were like, "Oh, it's unarmed," I'm like, "Yeah, but that somebody's doing some shit with that thing." And when they see eventually, the soldiers from Earthside charging them, they think that they're coming to attack. And I was like, no, they're running from something, okay? Because they're firing, all right? Why would they be firing at them when there's no chance to hit? There's something going wrong over there. And then everything just goes straight down the just bananas. And everything starts getting blown up. Their boss, or their general or whatever, says something really strange, like, "What are we doing?" And I didn't understand why he said that, because then he just gets shot and killed. And something takes them all down, takes everything down. And the last thing we see is, Bobby laying on the ground. Everybody appears to be taken out. And this blue thing that looks like an evolved version of the proto-molecule is over her. And that's the episode. And that's just freaking craziness. So I don't know if this is a different alien, or it's got to be some form of the proto-molecule, right? I mean, it has to be. Well, it doesn't have to be. It could be anything. But I just feel like they wouldn't just start a new thing. Like, this would have to just be the next stage of whatever's coming next. Let's see if I'm forgetting anything here. Nagata getting Johnson to tell the story of Julie Mowen Miller as a love story to get people, a little bit of hope that these, groups, different sides were able to help and come and save the world. That was a pretty nice touch. I'm sure I'm going to be kicking myself for forgetting other things in this. There's so many great stuff, but she just shines supreme. Amos, in his messed up way of saying I'm sorry, he's such a funny dude, man. I don't think he means to be funny at all. I think what he thinks is funny is stuff that none of us would probably think is funny. But that's what makes him even greater. So anyway, that's it for this episode. So if you like this video, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit bell for all notifications, all that jazz. We will be doing another episode tomorrow, possibly two. I don't want to try to jam too much in, but thanks again for everybody for all the support. I just did my video for my 300 subscribers. I also did another Expanse video. It's a little tribute video to Miller. If you want to check that out, we've got South Park's premiere on here. Shit, man. I'm doing so many videos, I'm starting to forget how many what I put out. But we create playlists all the time. We got Better Call Saul. We got eventually I'll get back to Orphan Black. So anyway, this is Robin Smirking Gun Review saying I hope you liked this video. Thanks for choosing to watch this video, and we will see you on the next one. All right, bye. Have a great night.